In 2022, Cred was valued at $6.4 billion. By 2025, that number came down to $3.5 billion. That is close to 50% reduction. And the entire business model has been getting squeezed by RBI regulations. And it's been more than 8 months since financial year 2025 ended, but Cred still hasn't filed their results. In comparison, they filed their FY 2024 results by September itself. And more than anything else, Cred's core proposition that you can do wonders with the top 1% income group of India as your customers is not working as powerfully as Kunal Shah tried to make us believe. In this video, let's deeply analyze how Cred's business is going on and also compare it with other major Indian startups and understand what exactly is happening inside Cred right now. Is it stable or is it shaky? You are watching Dawn Unicorns. If you are interested in startups and entrepreneurship, subscribe right now for more videos. Let us begin with the original idea behind Cred. According to founder Kunal Shah, among all those people in India who use credit cards, there are some people who pay their bills on time, having a 750 plus credit score. The core idea behind Cred is to bring all of them into one platform and then sell products or services to this high quality user base. That's it. Now notice something here. The idea didn't come from a pain point or customer demand. He simply picked a premium customer segment and said, I will figure out something to sell to these people. So instead of asking what product should I build, he focused more on who is the ideal customer. This approach itself is quite unconventional, but the initial product was simple and effective, a single platform to pay all credit card bills on time. That solved a convenience problem and made life easier for many users. Now to attract these users with 750 plus credit score, Cred went heavy on celebrity marketing. They even spent hugely for advertising in IPL. And in those advertisements, Cred promised users with rewards and cashbacks just for paying bills on the app. And Kunal Shah from the beginning positioned Cred as an elite club of high income members. And actually Kunal Shah's main skill set is marketing and sales. He is not the typical tech founder. Plus on top of that, he already has experience and reputation as a founder of Freecharge. And also, Kunal Shah focused heavily on the UI and UX of Cred app, making it premium and elite. So with all these tactics and strategies, he brought users onto the Cred platform. Once the users were brought, as promised in the advertising, whenever people paid their credit card bills on Cred, they received heavy cashbacks and rewards. And this pulled in huge numbers of users initially. But later, as usual, Cred had to reduce rewards. They were only meant for initial user acquisition. Keeping them permanently would make losses explode. So naturally, the users who joined just for rewards were extremely disappointed now. Now they are literally getting 1 rupee or 2 rupee cashbacks. And after pulling in users, Cred started adding different products and services. Most startups build a product first and then look for customers. Kunal Shah did the opposite. First acquire users and then experiment with what might work for them. So the real business begins now. In 2020, they launched RentPay. Every month, your rent could be paid from your credit card to your landlord's bank account. This helped users to pay rent through their credit card and later clear the bill when they had money. And Cred charged a 1 to 2% fee for this. Another advantage with this is premium credit cards offer rewards for spending. So using your credit card for rent means you will be getting cashbacks and rewards also. And this product came at the right time when the COVID pandemic hit India. So it worked very well initially and created revenue for Cred. But over time, the product got virtually killed. First, the banks removed rewards for rent payments. Then they started charging an additional 1% fee on top of what Cred was charging. So fees went up and rewards vanished, making it pointless for users. And later, in September 2025, RBI issued a rule. Cred can use credit cards only for payments to companies. But landlords are individuals, not companies. So paying rent via credit cards to individuals became illegal. The reason for RBI doing this is, many people were creating fake landlord accounts just to pull money out of credit cards. So regulation basically killed the product almost. Next, Cred launched Cred Stash in 2020. It was later renamed as Cred Cash. It provides instant loan up to 5 lakh with no paperwork at around 15% interest. But Cred doesn't lend its own money. Banks like IDFC First Bank and some NBFCs supply the capital. So Cred is essentially the distribution platform, connecting users with lenders. Out of the interest the customers pay, 85 to 90% goes to the bank or NBFC, the lender. Cred keeps only 10 to 15%. This became Cred's main revenue stream. Today, 80 to 90% of Cred's revenue comes from lending itself. But here too, RBI started acting. They increased risk weights on unsecured loans. The loans Cred gives are unsecured loans because they are not backed by collateral like gold or property. Now, to increase risk weights means, usually for example, when you borrow 1 lakh rupees, the lender, whether it is the bank or NBFC, must keep aside 9,000 rupees as safety money. They cannot touch that money until you start paying EMIs. As you start paying EMIs, that safety money gets unlocked proportionally. But now with the RBI regulation, increased risk weights means the lender has to set aside not 9,000 rupees but 11,250 rupees for 1 lakh of loan. So now the banks or NBFCs must lock more money, which reduces their free capital which can be given as loans. Now the only way to make up for the shortage is to increase interest rates. So Cred's customers now pay high interest rates than before. When interest rates increases, naturally when compared to before, loan demand decreases. So Cred's revenue will also decrease. In FY 2023, Cred made 1400 crores of revenue. In FY 2024, revenue jumped to 2473 crores. That is 66% growth. But in FY 2025, numbers are not filed yet, which itself is a red flag. But estimated reports suggest that the revenue is around 3000 crores. Meaning revenue growth crashed from 66% in last year to 21% this year. So that is a direct result of RBI regulation. And another regulation with respect to lending is, as I mentioned earlier in the video, IDFC First Bank and some NBFCs are the lenders. Cred gets only 10 to 15% of the interest that those lenders make. That is a tiny slice of the pie. The only way to make more money is if Cred has their own NBFC. So along with the already existing lenders, Cred introduced their own NBFC. They bought an NBFC and renamed it as Newtap Finance. Now with their own NBFC, they can borrow huge money from banks at relatively cheaper interest rates and lend to Cred users at slightly higher interest rates and keep all the revenue without sharing to anyone. But Cred faced a major problem here. RBI is blocking Cred from acquiring Newtap Finance. So the current structure is, Kunal Shah personally owns the majority of Newtap Finance. Cred owns a minority stake. So the real owner of NBFC is not Cred but Kunal Shah. RBI did this because NBFCs must remain extremely safe. A risky fintech startup cannot fully control an NBFC. But the problem with this structure of ownership is this. If Cred itself owned Newtap Finance, they could scale lending aggressively and seamlessly. But now, because Newtap Finance is not officially owned by Cred, borrowing for the NBFC becomes harder and a bit slower. Another product Cred launched is Cred Mint. Users could deposit money, earn 9% annual interest, and they can withdraw anytime. And Cred uses that money to give loans through Cred Cash. But after new RBI rules, this product also became insignificant. And then Cred also launched products like Cred Flash, Cred Garage, Kuvera, so on and so forth. Cred Flash was a buy now pay later feature, but it too ran into regulatory issues. But we don't need to dig into all this because even today, the big revenue driver is only lending, that is Cred Cash. So in summary, Kunal Shah built a smooth instant loan application, plus a lot of product experiments on top of it. But the problem with lending is, it comes with major risks. Number one is the macroeconomy. If the Indian economy slows, defaults rise, interest rates go up, and lending firms suffer. Number two is competition. If a big bank or a new startup offers instant loans at cheaper rates than Cred, users will definitely switch their loyalties. Number three is market size limitation. India has only around 3.5 crore active credit card users with 750 plus credit score. The total market itself is small. So small market plus rising competition means tougher future, especially in an industry where regulation is more frequent. When it comes to profitability, Cred is still heavily loss-making. Losses are increasing year after year. We have to wait for FY 2025 results. The delay itself is suspicious. Usually companies delay bad results because companies take time to create a narrative in such a way that underplays some kind of numbers and overemphasize positive numbers. That is basically financial engineering. Now let's compare Cred's valuation with other Indian startups. Cred was founded in 2018, raised almost $1 billion as of now, and it is now valued at $3.5 billion. But even in this valuation, there is a catch. In the last round, Cred raised 617 crores, out of which 160 crores came from Kunal Shah's own VC fund. So he invested in his own startup to increase its valuation. So if he himself hadn't invested in his startup, Cred's valuation would have been lesser than $3.5 billion. Now, Bharatway was founded in 2018. It raised $850 million in total, and now it is valued at $2.85 billion. Grow was founded in 2016. It raised just $393 million, and it is valued at $3 billion. And PhysicsWallah was founded in 2020. It raised only $310 million, but it is valued at $2.8 billion. So if you see, multiple startups have similar valuations while raising far less money than Cred. And also, Cred's losses are higher than all these startups. So fundamentally, even with Kunal Shah's experience and massive funding, Cred has not delivered exceptional results. He packaged the idea as revolutionary, but the outcomes are not that powerful. The core business is just instant loans. If competition rises, it also gets shaky. There is no powerful moat around the business as such. In finance, regulations keep hitting repeatedly. This is normal and will continue in the future too. FY 2025 results are still delayed, but investors already know the internal reality, which is why valuation was cut nearly 50%. From a purely idea standpoint, Cred made bill payments easy and created instant loans. But both can be copied easily, so there is no defensible moat. And financially, as of now, Cred is definitely not an excellent startup. We have to wait and see whether the situation changes in the future. So this is the analysis of Cred startup. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want more videos like this, subscribe to Dawn Unicorns. This is Deepak Lead signing off.